4:56 p.m. This is documentation of what is ongoing criminal interference with quiet enjoyment, speaking to malice and impunity. The demon in unit number 55 is having a fit. This is amplified audible activity, though, is how it's legally analyzed. And the reason why she's having a fit is because of what I'm reviewing on the internet, which the demons are triggered by. This is relevant to what is the admission to federal stalking under Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2, which is in violation of the Violence Against Women Act while the residents are stalking. This is relevant to not only do you see this engineer light, which is not going to shoot across the living room. This is the same position of engineer light in the dark before even the fake sun rises at this same exact apartment complex while I'm inside of the same apartment. And this is also engineer light that's coating the ceiling, going down the hallway, the closet door. And this is the shadow of patio furniture that's on the opposite side of the patio. This is where you're remembering at this time of day, I'm going to show you it because at 5:06 a.m. what you're looking at the top on this day in 2024, the fake sun was both rising and setting. As I documented on this day, the sunrise outside of my living room window at the same address, Alvarado Gardens, and also the sunset, which is what I'm capturing at 5:06 p.m. when I'm walking out of my office, getting off of work at Speaker Company's Alvarado Gardens, which is at 1810 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, California. And what you're looking at is impossible light activity that's hitting this shelf, and the shadow of the shelf is appearing on the patio glass door. That's not sunlight, first of all, but it is speaking to what is stalking with light. This is where, as you'll see in the images, as I documented, the demons in 41 stalking in the path. This is the same one that was gang stalking at 5:50 p.m. with the Ontario police, who was flying over while they like to gang stalk with their kids. They're losing custody of their kids, and this is called stalking in the path. And doing so, demons stalk in the path with engineered light, because that's not sunlight. It's also not going to be the product of the sun that is on this day setting in alignment to me as I walk outside of my office door at 5:06 a.m. This is where an entity is indeed engaged in what is federal group stalking and monitoring, and they are in unit 41 stalking in the path, while the demon right above in unit number 55 is engaged in what is amplified stomping and pacing. And also on the inside, like you've already seen, engineer light was sweeping east and west across this living room wall, ceiling, while the demons are monitoring, and they are triggered by documentation that I review on my communication devices, which are kept under surveillance. And you're looking at what is engineer light that's not the product of sunlight. The entity is keeping this fake sun. I want you to see this right here. The current time, let's look at it. It's 4:58 p.m. The entity is engaging what is stalking with this is not the sun. This is the speaking to the recognizing the crime scene where the demon possessed are gang stalking in an engineered environment.
Alrighty, this is the light source. This is the hovering light source. That is, again, the same light source hovering directly above me at what is 11, 12 o'clock and 3:30. And so it's literally going from one side of the office in the morning when I arrive, 8, to what is 5 p.m. and accomplishing what is the purpose of aiming light in the same exact location. And the entity is engaged, and this is all engineered light. You already know that, and you also know that that's not the sun. And this is the direct evidence that the people of the state that are in relevant position, that's the purpose of having this environment. And you're looking at impossible light all over all over the properties they're monitoring.
So while the sun is, you're looking at it right here at Tracy Banks's patio glass door, you are recognizing that the demons in unit number 41 with license 9CZC059 are engaged in what is called stalking in the path on behalf of the state. They're gang stalking by residents. And so was the landlord, AVANATH Capital Management, who are engaged in the ongoing unabated program of psychological torture with the state of California, who you heard gang stalking me by helicopter at 10:10 until 10:13 p.m., flying in circles, having a fit, just like the demon in unit 55, because they're monitoring my evidence that while they're gang stalking me and keeping my devices under surveillance and all of my internet activity. And the natural environment is such that if this is the sun here, then it never reached LA over me at Alvarado Gardens, contrary to what I documented from sunrise until sunset. And in addition to that, while you're looking at this sun here at what is 5 p.m., 5:06 p.m., negligible difference. This is the same time. This fake sun doesn't go anywhere. You know that it stays right here. This sun is not causing any of this sunlight on these buildings in Los Angeles at the hillside.
All right, while the sun is over the Chino Branch Library, remaining over me while I get on Omnitrans and take the bus, you're looking at what's just engineer light just touching all over, in the same way that the demon of 1818 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 4, drove by and engineer light swiped across that building of building 1800 while he was in a vehicle, you're looking at its engineered light has nothing to do with the placement of the light source, and that's not the sun, and this is not sunlight. This is speaking to the prosecution of the people of the state. They are in the specific environment, and they are engaged in what is massive monitoring in the state of California, and this is the identification of the people of the state. All right, they live in a venue and they're engaged in what is state monitoring, and the state of California is engaging in this. This is behind what is my leasing office, and this is the placement of what is engineered light that's all over the houses. These are third-party facilitating venues. This is the state. The state is vicariously present through the people, and this is also exposing what is a demonic population. They're engaging in what is massive monitoring together as one in a specific environment, and that is the P.O.C. The entity is maintaining this engineered light. Just for example, this right here is touching. You're actually looking at that is lower elevation down there, and the entity is suggesting that this is the sun in perfect alignment with me here, and this is the building right here. I want to be clear, there wouldn't be any light really on there. If you're going with the illusion that that's the sun, but you already know that that's not the sun, I'm just pointing out the obvious to you, okay? This is the entity engaging in group stalking, maintaining presence. That's P.O.C. But the entity, the maintenance of engineered light that's covering the properties, this is underway. While they drive all around, the entity amplifies it. The entity is group stalking by helicopter. They're all monitoring together, okay? It is currently 5:08 p.m. and this is the placement of engineered light over the people of the state who are engaged in group stalking and monitoring, and the people of the state are in the evidence of that's going to be used against them in the prosecution for federal group stalking and monitoring in the state of California, and the ongoing impermissible threat that the entity is posing while they are also doing that with minor children and monitoring via minor children, which is a demented and disturbing method of federal group stalking and monitoring. And this is just an ordinary way of life for them because everything's supposed to appear as though it's normal everyday life, and it's not. You're looking at highly malicious conduct that children are engaged in, and that's relevant to what is terrorism that's being sponsored by the state and facilitated by the people in the specific environment. There's no sunlight that would be over any of this if that was the sun in Chino, California. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. It's 5:09 p.m. This is P.O.C.
Okay, I want you to see something right here. This building, what you can see at the top, that's my apartment building, building 1808, building 1806, and building 1804. I documented the sunrise on this day through my same living room window, which is the same building that you're looking at. And in the beginning of this building, you're looking at, the beginning of this video, you're looking at the sunset while I'm at the same property. As I walk out, which is essentially feet away from my apartment where I documented the sunrise at 6 in the morning, and I'll show you that as well. This is where the sunset is.
This is the light source.
This is where the sunset is. This is where the entity is maintaining the engineer light, as you are already aware, here at what is Alvarado Gardens over the same building. This is 3:39 in the afternoon. We're already aware of what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis, which is stalking in the path. This is what this demon does while I'm taking pictures inside of my apartment, well, inside of this apartment, of what is the engineer light. He is rapidly walking outside. This is called stalking in the path, okay? As I come to the bedroom window where Tracy Banks is, this demon is stalking in the path just like they were in this video. As I go to the bedroom window, you can see them in this video walking in the path. They're gang stalking by residents inside of their apartments. They're sex offenders. When my panties are down, legs spread open, genitalia exposed, they're also stalking and monitoring that as well. They have children in their custody. They are losing custody of the children that they also engage in gang stalking with. And this is the demon that's stalking in the path with simultaneity to walking out, and I'm capturing images of the engineered light because the fake sun is still here, and it's not in Los Angeles such that a sunrise and a sunset is going to be at the same apartment complex in alignment to me, okay, which is you already know it's P.O.C. because the sun is not rising and setting at one address. But not only that, you can compare and look at what is the gang stalking of the entire state when you're looking at what is the idle presence of the fake sun, while I am showing you what is remaining over Woodside Senior Apartments, and demons like the units in number 41 are stalking me in the path, a psychopath that's gang stalking you and looking elsewhere, gang stalking including their children, gang stalking still when they know that they're being documented, because this is called stalking in the path conduct, okay? Wherever I move in the apartment, this is the demon that's stalking with noise as I'm taking images, the demon in unit 55, as I walk to the bedroom and start taking pictures, this demon is walking out, he's stalking in the path. This is a demon-possessed sex offender who currently has access to children children. That's going to be remedied at the prosecution of the AVANATH and the people of the state of California. All right, this is the prosecution of the state. But this is what the entity is doing with regard to the maintenance of the fake sun. There's no idle sun that's going to the natural environment. Will never include the sun, like I documented on this day in 2024, remaining over me at one apartment complex, both from sunrise until sunset. And in addition to that, there is no provision that that would be the natural environment. Also, when you're also looking at it from the analytical angle regarding what is simultaneous presence, that which is over me through the patio glass door and is still over me at the patio glass door of Tracy Banks' apartment at 5 p.m. is not over Alvarado Gardens in any position in perfect alignment with me and my office at what is 1810 North Alvarado Street. Do not forget, this is the same apartment that I'm standing at yesterday at 11:15 in the morning, where this fake sun is over me at the top of my head, and that's exactly what I was talking about.
And so it's literally going from one side of the office in the morning when I arrive, 8 to what is 5 p.m. and accomplishing what is the purpose of
that's called stalking with light, and that's exactly what we have going on with regard to the P.O.C. as I'm documenting it, which is what I captured today in screenshots, just to remind you about what the demons are doing, gang stalking me under an idle fake sun. This is the fake sun documented. It's time of year analysis, 8:31 in the morning. We have the sunrise, don't forget, February 28th. That was 8 days ago, over this same apartment building at 7:26 in the morning on February 28th. That's the last time, in other words, that I got up early enough to capture the fake sun rising. Okay, the entity is doing the same thing every day, stalking with the fake sun at this apartment building where I'm at the same address. The entity, and I captured screenshots showing you what is, again, the maintenance of a fake sun as I've documented at 8:31. Daylight savings time or not, this is never the natural environment. The sun never reaches Florida while I'm capturing it over one building within daylight savings time or no daylight savings time. You have 8:31 in the morning on February 9th, and I'm looking out outside of the same patio glass door. This is 3:37 p.m. today. This is the same apartment building, units 33 through 48. I'm just reminding you about what I'm documenting. So today we're comparing it to, this is where it's at 3:39. So I'm just showing you 8:31 in the morning. This is where the fake sun begins, where the fake sun ends, where people are gang stalking with their kids, where the fake sun is present all day long. You're gang stalking with your children. And those are also predators who are monitoring my genitalia, who are engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet with gang stalking police officers and hitmen like Tracy Banks, who want to get away with theft that they've already accomplished and theft that they want to achieve by my murder and kidnapping. Okay, and showing their mental illness, ironically, while they're stalking me as a community under a whole fake sun. All of the psychopaths, all of the delusional psychopaths are going to prison and mental wards, as I prove as a matter of tangible evidence the malice whereby the entity is gang stalking me together, and doing so with kids, because this is the same apartment, 41, at what is 11:29 in the morning. What are they walking in? What are they riding their tricycles in? They're monitoring me with their kids, okay? Just like they're doing today, taking their kids outside, stalking me in the path while they know what I'm doing, moving around inside of the apartment under a fake sun, okay? That is never going to be, with regard to the natural environment, another angle of analysis, both rising and setting over me at Alvarado Gardens. That's the specific environment, documenting the pattern of conduct by the state, where LAPD is gang stalking me as I document it. And it's the pattern of conduct where I'm showing you the fake sun is remaining over me at Woodside Senior Apartments, an outright departure from where the sun is documented even on the same day at the same time. Okay, this is the entity that is gang stalking on an ongoing basis, and this is where they're walking with their kids while the fake sun is in its zenith over the top of my head at 11:29 in the morning. This is what you saw yesterday as I documented the fake sun at 11:15 in the morning, and I'm reminding you about the entity has the fake sun over this apartment building where I'm standing at the top. All right, this is what I'm talking about.
11 and 12 o'clock.
That's where the entity had the fake sun yesterday, right there over the top of this building. While I'm showing you at the same time yesterday, this is where the fake sun is at yesterday, March 7, 2025, over my head in this same manner at 15 minutes earlier, 11:15 a.m. Okay, this is where an entity is gang stalking under a fake sun.
O'clock and 3:30.
All right, and doing so with regard to knowledge about the fact that they are being documented for that unfathomable violation of the rights of another who is also enforcing their rights against them, i.e. documenting it, and also reporting it to the feds, publishing it on the internet. So again, I want you to see this really quick. There you go.
This is the light source.
And this is amplified noise, ongoing monitoring on my device in real time. They're all going to prison. You already know that. And this is, again, It's currently 5:10 p.m. So I'm capturing this video right now at the same time on this day, and you're looking at the fake sun that's at the same position. This is
Alrighty,
P.O.C.
this is the light source. This is the hovering light source that is, again, the same light source hovering directly above me at what is 11, 12 o'clock and 3:30 in the...
All right, that's the P.O.C. I just want you to see it at the same time where the demons are indeed gang stalking a woman inside of an apartment. This is in violation of the Violence Against Women Act. That's 34 U.S.C. 12291, and they are doing so as a community. This also includes the employees of AVANATH Capital Management, and this is another day of documentation of impunity and malice. And be mindful of the fact of what the Ontario Police Department is doing under this fake sign. This is ongoing, accumulated. This is a criminal activity that is also identified and recognized more and more in the aggregate. Okay, so in other words, what do I mean by that? The feds that are understanding and witnessing me prosecute a demon-possessed and mentally ill population that is a government that's operating a criminal system of surveillance in order to murder and kidnap and steal, as I'm speaking to what the entity, the motivation also, not just because they're bloodthirsty murderers and sex offenders, but also because they're thieves, all right? They do this also while you are more capable of seeing on day 366 the pattern of conduct than you are on day number 1 and day number 2, when you understand the big picture perspective of what they're doing and the environment that they're doing it and the behavioral patterns that they engage in while they do it, and also the mental illness that they exhibit, the malice that they exhibit, okay, the absence of any remorse against another human being. That's speaking to the threat against children. Gang stalking families, doing so with their children. They are a threat. These are the ticking time bombs that are a threat to the children that they are teaching to engage in psychologically torturing another. And it's also, they're literally a threat to those children. Sex offenders that are gang stalking are sexual predators that will violate those children as well, okay? So that's just common sense, but that's what I mean by this is evidence that is more and more probative in the aggregate. You have documentation from 2018 to 2025. So lastly, I just want you to see, while you're looking at what is the fake sun that's remaining, as you already know, rising and setting at Woodside Senior Apartments. This is where inside of the apartment today at Woodside, the entity is amplifying noise. That's the demon in unit number 55, and also having engineered lights sweeping across the ceiling, just like I documented over 20 times while I was publishing the criminal activity of Ontario Police gang stalking with the demons, all in Unit 41, who are going to a mental asylum. They were so triggered by that. Tracy Banks, this psychopath, is sitting on her bed, and for over 4 hours, you have what is engineered lights just sweeping east and west across her ceiling wall like nothing is happening. Okay, those are the psychopaths that are going to mental wards. And I have the hard evidence proving that, but this is that which the ordinary target individual does not have evidence typically to prove. And that is the tragic injustice of what is the diagnoses of mental illnesses that targeted individuals do not suffer from, for prosecutions for criminal acts that targeted individuals did not commit. And they're doing it for purposes that you're ignorant about, like stealing property that even the targeted individual may not even know belongs to them, or has been left to them, or has been stolen from them. That's the malice behind psychological torture. You're going to prison for engaging in psychological torture as a way of life, by place of employment, by place of residence. And you're also going to prison for the pattern of conduct of obstruction of justice. You're going to prison for gang stalking on a systematic basis with the police, with the government itself, and also doing so with impunity and malice, because you so blatantly disregard the fact that you're gang stalking an American citizen. You're going to prison for even longer then. Okay, and that's going to teach American citizens and the American government to respect the rights and human rights and constitutional rights of American citizens, because the American government, the state of California, defecates on the Constitution. And that's why people like the demons of the Ontario Police, that entire police department is being wiped away. It's being disbanded. Okay, they despise the Constitution and your constitutional rights. They despise an American citizen like myself. And that's because I won't engage in what is giving them what is an ability to kidnap me and just be quiet about it. So you're mad because I'm reporting you to the feds. The feds are putting each and every last one of them documented in prison. They're going to prison and mental asylums. The demon that was gang stalking in helicopter from 10:10 to 10:13, and then this demon Tracy Banks walks into the apartment because I'm reporting what are their criminal motives for seeking to conspire and murder and kidnapping me. They are walking in, they're gang stalking together, the Ontario Police and Tracy Banks at 10:10, as I document on this podcast, based on the monitoring that's ongoing on my devices. And this psychopath thinks that it's intelligent to do that when she's facing a federal prosecution. And it's the same with the demons who are, again, Mike Lorenz and the Ontario Police Department. And that's speaking to their mental illness. Because no intelligent defendant that knows you're going to stand in court. No attorney is going to be able to defend that. No attorney is going to defend that. And there's no constitutional protection either. They're going to prison for what is fully recognized and proven domestic terrorism, psychological torture, i.e. gang stalking in California. So I want you to see, not only do you see the sunset here, I want you to also see the sunrise, which I documented on this same day in 2024. You can look at the entire podcast. You can look at the entire playlist. I documented a body of evidence where the entity had the fake sun all day long. You're talking about almost hour by hour. The fake sun did not go anywhere. It did not go anywhere. And this is where the entity is gang stalking me from sunrise until sunset. And then you're looking at the fake sun that's over me outside of Tracy Banks's patio door as I capture it during the 3 p.m. hour. This is not coexisting with what is the sunrise and sunset at Alvarado Gardens. The two are not happening at the same time. It requires more than one sun. That in and of itself, that is an inevitable conclusion. It requires more than one sun. Is speaking to what is a supernatural environment, where the demonic, in other words, are underway, and the demon possessed. The city of Ontario, the people of the state of California are practicing a targeting system, and it is satanic through and through. And this is the evidence proving that, which is relevant to malice in federal court. Okay, this is where the sunrise is documented. Amplified noise ongoing. It's currently 5:17 p.m. These are the demons that are going to prison. That they're going to prison. It's fine, but I'm documenting impunity because they're going to prison and they're going to get the books thrown at them. All the demon possessed, gang stalking police officers like Jason Knight, he's going to prison. He's going to get the book thrown at him. Him and everybody else that manufactured charges when they kidnapped me while they were gang stalking. That's what the Ontario police practices. They kidnap me off the street and make up charges when they get me to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. They made it up. Okay? And this is why they intended to obstruct justice. Those demons are going to prison. They're not getting out. I want to be clear about that. They're not getting out. And those are just two. This is the entity that is indeed gang stalking while and monitoring evidence of violation of the title of the federal stalking statute. And also doing so, speaking to mental illness. This is where the sunrise is documented today.
Okay, this is me
in
moving,
2024.
just standing in front of closed blinds in the living room at a distance. And this is magnification of light, creating an upright shadow magnified in size. And this is automatic light activity. It's also the sex offense, not only based on criminal monitoring by an entity inside of the private space, but by the molestation of my person that's underway in order to achieve this criminal monitoring inside of the private space with engineered light. It's currently 6:33 a.m. and now I want to also show you what is appearing on the walls with simultaneity to the creation of this video is piercing through closed blinds, the concentrated light. So there are light here, layers of engineered light that's appearing through closed blinds. So what you're looking at is me standing magnified light, and the concentrated blinds, that's supposed to be sunlight, and you already know that because the sun is not remaining present at any address, also somehow maintaining perfect alignment with me and aiming light inside of the depths of my office and in my bedroom while that light source remains for a total of 12 hours. And that's the documented phenomenon. The entity is also speaking to what is an ongoing admission by a sex offender that the people of the state are going to be and prosecuted for is based on the malice and the threat to the life. That is speaking to the sexual violence, that ongoing obsessive endeavor to continue after having been documented. Documentation by the targeted entity is speaking to what is knowledge by the sex offender,
which is
that
what
they are
they're doing
violating
now.
Someone who was aware of it.
Monitoring evidence.
Violation
Monitoring
that
now.
The people of the state are going to be prosecuted for. In addition to what that speaks to sexual violence, okay, and the intent to sexually violate, another level of torment. That's going towards civil and criminal damages. But you're also mindful of the fact that this is impossible, and it's not sunlight, which you already know, but you also know that it's not sunlight because the entity is maintaining the light source in its zenith over my head in an entirely different region, which I will remind you about that documentation as well. This is something that I have spoken to many times, but what I'm doing now is reminding you about the evidence that already exists against the people of the state who are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring at the location where I live and work, and in the state of California, because as I leave from Alvarado Gardens, this light source that has remained stationary as a matter of evidence for 12 hours for the past month or so since my car has been taken to be serviced since this entity broke into it. The entity engages in what is an absolute about face, and this light source will remain directly over me wherever it is that I travel for the duration of the day, which is the pattern of conduct as well, speaking to what is nothing other than a light source stalking with light. The entity is stalking with light, keeping it at Alvarado Gardens now because I'm staying on the grounds of Alvarado Gardens, and the entity is stalking with engineered light, covering the grounds of Alvarado Gardens which has under no circumstances anything to do with sunlight. I want you to look at how concentrated it is, to look at how magnified it is, because this is speaking to a level of a threat. This is speaking, the entity that is monitoring documentation is the same entity that increases the targeting and threatening conduct by the demon-possessed agency that's monitoring, and that's the LAPD. This is commensurate to that threat as they do so and communicate and monitor and place under surveillance, monitor ongoing documentation with the placement of engineered light inside of the private space.
That's what's ongoing inside of the apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments. When you are reminded about what you just saw at after 5 p.m., 5:10 p.m., the fake sun is here setting in alignment to me, because the entire apartment complex is gang stalking me and psychologically torturing me at 5:19 p.m., maintaining ongoing course of amplified booming that is intended to psychologically harm, because I'm reporting all of the sex offenders that are stalking me in violation of laws that are they have to be in conformity to in order to have their rent paid. They're all losing their housing, and they're all going to prison in units 33 through 64. And this is what the government is doing, while the apartment complex is actually a facilitating venue, where the fake sun is at what is 7:26 a.m. until 7:42 is where I captured this video. And then you have what is 8 days later, I'm capturing at 5:10 p.m. The fake sun is still over me at this same apartment complex, at this apartment. That's not at anywhere at what is Alvarado Gardens, nor is the sun rising outside of my apartment like I'm documenting at 6:33 in the morning, same time of year on March 8, 2024. It's literally the same day today. And the entity kept the fake sun as I documented this day in 2024. It never left over my head in Los Angeles. And so you're understanding what is the intent: to psychologically harm, while amplified noise is constantly heard while I'm documenting this video that's putting everybody in prison. Okay, this is what is putting the demons that are gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department using helicopters. They're going to prison. What they were doing yesterday is what they're doing today. Is what they continuously do on an ongoing basis, while I am incessantly blowing the whistle on them. That's no small thing. And they are putting everybody else, that is the government, gang stalking with the people, puts the people in prison even longer. Because the foolish demon that flies in circles over the apartment complex, because I'm capturing podcasts and video and images, they're all going to prison for even longer. And that demon that's pacing, exhibiting mental illness and an unlawful level of impunity toward federal law and terrorism as a police department, that demon's going to a mental asylum. And if you're ignorant about what I'm referring to, refer to the podcast documented yesterday, March 7, 2025. It is entitled Federal Group Stalking and Monitoring in the State of California, Collateral Schemes by the Entity. Or you can listen to the entire podcast that is documented yesterday, March 7, 2025, Federal Group Stalking and Monitoring. And this is at the tail end of the day, where I'm documenting what's happening after 10 p.m., where Tracy Banks walks into the apartment after the police are flying in circles over her apartment. And this is, again, the entity that's monitoring evidence. They show their mental illness while they are being exposed. And this is while they're engaging in what is indeed stalking as an entity.
This is relevant to that, and it is commensurate to that. This is the same communication of a threat. Okay, I want you to understand and interpret what the demon-possessed are doing with the creation of this environment inside of the private space, which is a phenomenon never naturally occurring, and it's also never occurring when maintaining the sun, right? If you're going to entertain the illusion, if this is the sun, then at an entirely different location, I am documenting the maintenance of the sun over me, and at the early hour, and that is also speaking to what would never be the case, meaning there is no sun that's rising in perfect alignment with my apartment at this time or at any time, because in an entirely different region, which I will remind you about that documentation, the sun is rising over me, and I'm capturing it on video, and I'm also showing you what is the sunlight that's all around me, speaking to the immediacy of that location. There's no mistake about where that sun is, where I'm at, and what time it is, and the duration of the time that light source remained over me. This is occurring in the perfect alignment. This is stalking with light, and it remains here all day, but it's also speaking to what's not occurring at the same time. So while I've documented, the record already exists as to what the entity at that time committed to with what was the natural environment. And it not only was it not the natural environment, as I established that, common sense dictates, and that's why I documented it. The entity is now engaging in what is that same imprudent process, because they are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and this is how that system operates. So I am showing you how their unintelligent and imprudent system operates. There's no, by the way, there is
The sun that is rising over Woodside Senior Apartments in alignment to me, units 33 through 48, is not creating any sunlight through closed blinds at my apartment in Los Angeles at the same time of year at an earlier time at 6:33 in the morning, where I'm showing you that it's still here at the same property, like I documented today, on the same day at 5:10 p.m., where the entity still has the fake sun right now at what is 5:26 p.m. This is the pattern of conduct, and the pattern of conduct is recognized through what is an entirely fake sun, and the fake sun has nothing to do with the light that's surrounding everything. The fake sun is not the cause, in other words, for this engineer light that's appearing magnified in size inside of my apartment. It is demonic. And it is present because criminal monitoring, surveillance by the government, who is relying on the population that lives at the apartment complex and surrounds the apartment complex through traffic, through air traffic, and the entire neighborhood, and they're demon possessed. It is gang stalking. And it's an egregious sex offense. This is what Alvarado Gardens and Woodside Senior Apartments are being prosecuted for. And LAPD and Ontario PD have aided in the secure prosecution of the demon possessed who are going to federal prison.
There is no persuasive or intelligent way to stalk somebody with what's supposed to be the sun. When you know how the sun and the natural environment operates, and then you go to the link to document what the entity was doing with what's supposed to be the natural environment and the sun. No matter how ridiculous it is, you document it. Because if that's the sun, oh, well, then that would be the sun no matter where I'm going. And if that was the sun, as I documented, which I will remind you of, while I'm in an entirely different city and it's in its zenith over my head and surrounding me with what is supposedly sunlight, there is no possible way. This is another aspect of the analysis, that any light under any circumstances, and you see this every day. You see the light source over me for the duration of the day, every day. 8 hours, 9 hours from now, I'm sorry, the entity is on the opposite side of my apartment, aiming this light through my bedroom onto the bedroom wall. You see this every day. You see the multiple shadows light on the ceilings, the enhanced light on the living room, this is the dining room floor, as though the sun is somehow engaging in some gymnastics and it's staying here, and then after hours it's somehow at this location.
And that's exactly what I'm documenting, the gymnastics that the demons are gang stalking amongst, while it reaches underneath the patio glass door, underneath the patio structure, the patio covering of Tracy Banks's apartment, where it's shade underneath. Ordinarily, sunlight is not bending underneath to reach underneath structures. That sort of gymnastics, that's not sunlight. And it also has nothing to do with the fake sun. In other words, while I break this demonic environment down where a bunch of demons are stalking you conspicuously and inconspicuously, the fake sun can be totally forgotten about, because the engineer light that does such gymnastics, it's present regardless of the fact of that fake sun. The fake sun is supposed to make you think that everything is covered in sunlight. Take the fake sun out of the equation. That engineer light is a demonic occurrence, and it's not based on the presence of the fake sun. And I've also proven that when I show things like I'm referencing, the engineer light that's coming through the closed blinds is not the product of the sun that's added in alignment to me, just like the fake sun is here at 5:10 p.m. in alignment to me, just like it is at 7:26 a.m. at this same apartment. It's in alignment to me. That's what the demon possessed are doing. As a group, as a population, they're staying in alignment. They're gang stalking together. They're staying in alignment in planes and helicopters as well. When you're hovering over the apartment complex, they're stalking in the path. When you're flying over, by the way, in circles, you're exhibiting severe mental illness, which is already known because you're gang stalking. But then when you're pacing in a helicopter, this is somebody that's a psychopath that is just going in circles over and over and over and over and over while they're frustrated by something that's been exposed about them. This is the personality of the demon possessed, who are very severely mentally sick. Okay, this is the fake sun that's rising.
That's not a coincidence. It's the pattern of conduct. And where does this light source remain? On the opposite side of the same property at the end of the day, 12 hours from now. Okay, not the sun, also not the sun, because documentation exists where.
And just to go ahead, just so that you see, this is where the sunrise occurred. There is no natural environment that coexists with regard to what Woodside Senior Apartments is sitting under. The apartment building where I'm at is where the fakes, and it's very specific. Not only that, what is not going to coexist with regard to what I documented for the whole day. Okay, now this remains the case even when the demons engage in the chicanery, like you saw yesterday, covering up the fake sun for a couple hours with clouds, and then it's being unveiled. You're never forgetting the totality of circumstances. You captured that sunrise. You can cover it up in the middle of the day and then have a sunset. You can cover it up at the beginning of the day and then have a sunset. You can cover up, you can have a sunrise and then cover it up. At the end of the day, you still have what will never be reconciled. The duration of time, the sunrise and sunset does not happen at the same address. And what is and it's also not observed with regard to the natural environment. The sunrise is not going to occur at what is the same exact address and literally in the same region. That's non-movement. While I'm in Ontario, the sunset is happening in Ontario. No, it's not. All you have to do is think about these things. It defies nature. And also when you document it so that people can be abundantly clear about and having not having to deal with arguing with any demon possessed gang stalker who doesn't want to be identified. All right. The entity is engaging in this. And this is what I documented while you're looking at the fake sun on the same day at the same time. OK, this is the P.O.C. of federal group stalking and monitoring, and the demon possessed are very hostile to being exposed. And that
what is
hostility
the Los Angeles Police Department, which is the corrupt law enforcement agency that is engaged in group stalking, as I remain at third-party facilitating venue Alvarado Gardens, located at 1800 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, California. And this is a property where you have what is a third-party group stalker. Todd Speaker is the third party. He's engaged in criminal facilitation by virtue of his real property and his business being a means whereby the state of California, acting directly via the Los Angeles Police Department, and also vicariously via the people of the state, for example, those that live on the property of Alvarado Gardens and those that are living in relevant position to what is the facilitating venue where I'm subject to what is criminal monitoring, including during what is in the workplace. And this is an entity that's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in concert with the state, and doing so in the workplace. The entity is monitoring. And as if you reference my documentation on May 4th, 2022 at 3:38 p.m., I am showing light source. This is the fake sun at what is 3:37 p.m. 3:38 p.m. I'm a minute in, just to be, I like to be precise. You're giving and taking a negligible difference, especially when the fake sun's not going anywhere. Okay. So you can give an hour, you can take away an hour. You can see daylight savings time doesn't apply because the fake sun stays where I am all day long. Okay, and that's what the documentation at Woodside Senior Apartments and the documentation at Alvarado Gardens proves. In addition, you're looking at what is this fake sun at 3:37 and what is this fake sun at 3:39 while I am documenting inside of the apartment of unit number 51, where I'm documenting also the sunrise at the same apartment at 7:26 just 8 days ago, where I'm documenting today the sunset at 5:10 p.m. This is the same apartment where I'm showing you on this day in 2024, the entity engaged in the same pattern of conduct, which is supernatural. And in that supernatural environment, a malicious system of targeting an American citizen that is ordinarily unequipped to prove it. And the government did that on purpose. Satan has done this on purpose in order to steal that which belongs to you, in order to steal a reputation that you have earned, in order to kidnap you and steal your liberty, steal your freedom, and if not, steal your life. Okay? This is the significance of the supernatural aspect to the pattern of conduct. This is what is significant about it. While you have demons gang stalking me with their kids, these kids are being taken away from these predators, these psychopaths who still refuse to learn that you are not going to get away with it. Every detail about the ways in which they're targeting an American citizen and what is wrong with them and their minds while they do so is going to be used against them and everybody else, because the demons are gang stalking with children as well. They're all contributing to the delinquency of minors. They're all engaging in sexual violence in concert with minors. Just like you would document or prosecute any other sex offense, you're gang stalking with children. You like to bring kids when you're raping people. You like to include kids in that sort of sexual violence as well. You like to include kids when you're engaged in sex trafficking and you're creating what is pornography against the will of the person that's you're filming and making money off it. Do you like to include kids in those sex acts as well? Because it's going to be treated equally with regard to federal group stalking and monitoring in concert with children. This is what the entity continuously fails, but you don't have to understand the totality and the severity of it. All you need to understand is that it's unlawful and you're going to prison for it. They continuously engage in it and defy it to their own demise, showing that they do not care about the kids that they're literally gang stalking with. When you're looking at this fake sun, the children are a means of presence in the path. The children are a means of activity. The children are a means of what is a stalking under the fake sun. And this is documentation of what is abuse of minor children under federal law as well. This is also relevant to what is, again, in the workplace at Alvarado Gardens. Speaker companies, the people of the state engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. This is terrorism, domestic terrorism in the workplace. This is no ordinary harassment. It's terrorism at work.
This is, again, unprecedented level of damages. And they're also going to prison. Gang stalking me at work, gang stalking me where I live, where I documented the sunrise and the sunset. And then you're going to recall what is the fake sun over me while I'm looking at it and through the Tracy Banks's patio glass door, where you're looking at all manner of impossible light. And that's also how you understand this is not sunlight. Take away your idea about the fake sun. Take away the existence of the fake sun. It's not the natural environment. It's not a natural occurrence. It's supernatural. It has nothing to do with this light that's touching everything. This is happening without the presence of the fake sun. The fake sun is supposed to make you think that the sun is a cause for what is sunlight, and you can break that apart because sunlight doesn't cause this, number one, and also the sun is not over Alvarado Gardens and over me at Woodside in Ontario at unit number 51 at the same time. This is understanding what is the malice of a bunch of demon-possessed gang stalkers. And this is what Satan is doing amongst people. This is what Satan is doing amongst the environment. And this is informing you wherever you are in this country. Okay. It is currently, by the way, 5:36 p.m. And this is P.O.C.